counts, depending on what your opponent had on the board, right? Like, you
Right.
had to be really careful of the 4-prize turn for the Buzzwole. The 4-prize also was, you know, being able to give over that B-string. Well, there's a lot to consider in those decks.
So we do have our match picked out for round number 7. Our 2 players are going to be Azul, Garcia, Griego, going up against Joshua, Frink. Azul, without a doubt, one of the most popular and most well-known players in the game. Of course, the North American International Champion. There he is on the left. And do you remember what Azul beat in top 4 of NAIC before he got to the finals?
It was the Mewtwo v Union, piloted by Sander. Maybe he's learned a thing or two from that matchup. Maybe he enjoyed it a little bit too much.
Because in a roundabout way, Azul has found himself now playing the Mewtwo v Union. Almost poetic justice, it would seem. Definitely going to have some innovations here in the list, I would imagine. On the other end, we see Joshua Frink, who's going to be playing Arceus Duraludon, a deck we did just see recently. I will say this does, on paper, probably seem like a tough matchup for the Arceus Duraludon, but that's really kind of the beauty of the Mewtwo v Union, right? Really, most of the field is a solid enough matchup. It just kind of comes down to your heads flips and if you can set up before your opponent can aggress you out of the game.
Yep, looks like there's going to be, you know, a lot of coin flipping in this one as the trainers are drawing up their opening 7, making sure that they're ready to go in this one. There's the first coin flip of the game, and it's going to be to determine who goes first.
And we'll have to see who won that flip. Something that's really interesting about this matchup is Azul usually likes to rely on Miltank in specific matchups, especially ones where your opponent is playing V-Star and V-Maxes pretty heavily. But in this instance, Duraludon's attack hits through all effects, so Miltank's Miracle Body is not going to be useful, so Azul will have to pivot and won't really be able to rely on that strategy.
The Miltank being very key, actually, when I was watching it at North American International, so I wonder what he's pivoted to and is able to try and get through, because it does take a little while to get all of those pieces in the right place. Of course, you are very limited in your Mewtwo v Union options, but you know, you can also just sit those Snorlaxes up there, Gormandize over and over again, and see how well you can go with that way. But a lot of options, because you've got kind of, you know, light on the Mewtwo v Union, then being able to go through that. Once you get that out, you're sort of just looking through the rest of the deck to see exactly what you can do.
Azul is playing the full 4 copies of Crushing Hammer. It's definitely going to be a key card in this matchup, removing the energies from the Duraludons before they can start swinging, maybe even slow down the Arceus, make it so it can't get off a Trinity Nova attack, force Joshua to just go with a Trinity Charge, which will still put energies in play, but maybe saves you a knockout, gives you an extra turn effectively to Gormandize one more time. And that really is the key of this deck for Azul, using that Gormandize ability, filling the hand over and over and over again until you eventually can power up and set up your Mewtwo.
Well, Gormandize is going to be slightly limited. It's not going to have all 4 of them available, as one of them is in the prizes. A Boss's Orders, a Roxanne, and a Flannery in there. But the Single Strike Mustard, Avery, Ultra Ball, couple Energy, and the Escape Rope for Joshua Frink. So the prize is nice and balanced, nothing too drastic. But of course, when you look over at Azul, you know, some of these are one-ofs, which are going to be something he may want. You know, with the one-ofs being in the prizes, it's going to be a little bit limited, but it still has access to Silene's, Team Yell's Cheer, and, you know, other pal pads.
And eventually he'll be able to Peonia at some point, right? And that's kind of the idea with this deck. If important things are prized, you just Peonia 2 times. Look at half of your prizes the first time, put useless things back into your prizes, like, for example, Yveltal, which is what Azul has started here. Not a card that's going to be great in this matchup. You can put that back into the prizes very, very easily and choose some other important piece. And then later on in the game, Peonia one more time to get those other pieces out if there's something important prized. The big thing, though, is Azul did not prize any pieces of the Mewtwo v Union.
No, that's absolutely huge. He's going to go through and be able to confirm that with this Quick Ball as well. Discarding the Evil Tile once again, you mentioned, not particularly useful in this matchup, so just very easy to throw that away. And both copies of those are now in play or discarded, so won't be drawing into them at any further times. Would, of course, like to discard pieces of the V-Union, but it's, you know, he can deal with it, I think.
And right away, we see Azul is pulling all of his Pokemon to the front of the deck, wanting to check to make sure, okay, I've got all 4 pieces of Mewtwo V-Union. That's step 1. Let's see what else I have. Okay, my Miltanks are here. Ooh, looks like I prized a Snorlax. So if he needs to get one out later in the game, we may see a Silene. It depends just how aggressive Josh is, I think, though.
It's going to be a long search, though, making sure that the counts are there. You know, all of the options are available for him. He does have the Peonia in the hand already. And he goes for just the Gormandized Snorlax. So a nice, easy, quick ball. Will be needing to buy some time. Peonia will allow him to kind of look through those prizes and just, like you say, swap out the duds in his hand for the goodies that are trapped in his prizes. So if he wants to do it, won't be able to do it this turn. Obviously, it is still turn 1, but turn 2 and turn 3 will be in a good position. There's already one in the hand. There goes the Gormandized Snorlax onto the bench. And a scoop up net to get this Evil Tile out of the way. Not something you really need. Gets it back onto the bench. Don't want to lose just your Soul Snorlax. Path to the Peak and a Gormandize to end the turn for Azul, Garcia, Griego.
Very nice, able to play the hand down pretty low, get 4 more cards from the Gormandize heading into Joshua's turn. And Joshua's sitting on a pretty solid one here. I do already see that double turbo energy, and with the Arceus V start, we could definitely see a Trinity Charge throw a bunch of energy into play, which would make Azul's Crushing Hammers much, much weaker.
Right, and being able to spread that energy around too is huge, because then whatever you're crushing hammering, you just charge up something else. And like you say, if there's 3 energy, you got so much to go, you just need 1 more reattachment. So it's going to be an Ultra Ball for Joshua, being able to go in the deck, look for any Pokemon he wants. Of course, going to do the same kind of thing, count up the Pokemon in the deck, make sure he knows exactly what's available in there. Pulling a Duraludon to the front, something he'd like to set up. There is, of course, the world where, the Mewtwo V Union does rely on some of these special energies a little bit, particularly when you see one going down already onto that Evil Tile.
Yeah, if Azul ever wants to attack with the big 300 damage attack of the Mewtwo V Union, it does require 3 Psychic Energy and a Colorless Energy. And usually you're fine to supply that Colorless Energy with the Twin Energy, since it does still provide 1 Colorless on Pokemon V. But with the Skyscraper ability, that would be a little limited. So Azul will have to put a Path to the Peak in play on that turn when he wants to attack, if that is an option that he goes for.
Well, the Path to the Peak is going to get him around Skyscraper, and that's going to be absolutely huge. The big question is, how many options does Joshua have for stadiums? We know that these decks play Crystal Cave, but it's all about making sure that he has enough of them and is able to find them and bump the Path to the Peak at the premium time without Azul being able to just retaliate immediately with a Path to the Peak of his own. There is the Peonia, though. He's going to look at the prize cards. 3 of them go back in the hand, and then 3 more cards just have to go back in. So certainly a tough one.
Yeah, has to debate. It's always hard, these early turn Peonias, trying to figure out what's worth putting back in, what you're gonna be okay not seeing from here on out. And Azul might feel a little bit more comfortable now that he sees what type of Arceus deck he is up against, now knowing that he's playing Arceus Duraludon. Previously he only saw an Arceus V from his opponent, which really could mean just about anything.
That does not give anything away.
Not at all.
Always, it's like when they
start. Well, they're not playing Palkia.
Well, that's one thing.
They're not playing Mew.
Okay,
but there's so many Arceus
decks.
there's
still a bunch of Arceus. What attackers are in the back?
Yes,
I think once you see the Duraludon, that confirms it for you. Is it Arceus Inteleon? That also could be a concern. Yep. Or if you just see the lone Sobble to start, that's a good one for confusion as well.
1 Crushing Hammer does hit a tails. The second flip here does find the heads, and wisely choosing to get rid of the Fighting Energy. And I actually think Joshua discarded a Fighting Energy last turn as well, so that is massive.
Yeah, there's no more of those left. Oh,
1 more left in the deck.
2 more left. 2 more in discard. Another Psychic Energy going down onto the Evil Tile. So being able to maybe try and charge that up. Won't ever quite get there, though. Is lacking a Dark Energy.
Well, that first attack does use for 2 colorless, Cry of Destruction, discarding Special Energy. So that could come in to get rid of some double turbo energies, but it's really not going to be super useful. These 2 energies, I think, are mostly here to retreat off into another Snorlax, assuming this active one gets KO'd. And by the way, that was a huge top deck for Joshua. Let's not skip past that. He didn't have very much in his hand at all. Finds the Evolution Incense, which can get the Arceus V-Star. Starbirth now activates the entire deck. He can get any 2 cards out that he wants right now.
And we started that swap of stadiums over and over again. The Crystal Cave bumping the Path to the Peak, meaning that the Skyscraper is going to be active if he does desire so. But being able to finish up whatever was going on, or at least keep going in this one, is absolutely huge with the Starbirth. Does need to get another energy back on the Duraludon, but also probably wants something a little more consistent to allow him to keep going through the deck.
This is a really smart decision from Joshua. Off the Starbirth, he knows he needs an energy card, so that's an easy choice. And he was debating between the Professor's Research. Marnie, I think he thought better of it, though, was debating on the Research, but does choose to go with the Marnie, and this is where you have to be a little worried as the Mewtwo V Union player. You're only getting 4 cards. Your Snorlax is going to get KO'd. Azul has to hope that off of these 4 cards, he finds an out to Snorlax, some basic Pokemon, or some draw.
It doesn't look like he's got too many options in immediate pull. Not seeing exactly what you want in there.
I think I see a Miltank, so there's at least a Pokemon. Oh, and I think that is a Professor's Research.
Okay, so he's got a little bit more going on. Yeah, there's the Power Pad. All makes sense now. But, you know, not going to be able to Gormandize. And the big thing here is Joshua's just being able to set up another one of these Duraludons. So making sure that he has all the options for attacking in the next couple turns.
Something to note, Joshua actually does play an Ordinary Rod in the list. Not something we really see all that often from Arceus Duraludon players, and that is a card that can get back these fighting energies. If Azul was to find another Crushing Hammer and get rid of this third and final fighting energy, Joshua can still find a way to get that fighting requirement on his Duraludon.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit more work to do. There's the Quick Ball and the component of the Union. That's going to be the top right going in there. So he's still got a few more pieces to go, but is certainly starting to get things going in the right direction. Gets another one of those Gormandized Snorlaxes out. Like you said, the Cryo Destruction is an option, or just retreating. Going to Power Pad in. Another couple of options, or just the Peonia going back into the deck for Azul. So being able to look at the rest of his prizes if he can hit that sometime soon. But, you know, has a lot of work to do here, I think.
Yeah, just putting that back in there must still be something in the prizes Azul wants to get. So even though he plays 3 copies of Peonia, he wouldn't mind drawing one pretty quickly. He does have the Miltank in hand. It does look like he's considering just discarding it with the research. He's kind of debating this, not sure if he wants to bench it or discard it. He does choose to go ahead and get rid of that card. Finding 7 new ones off of the research can end the turn with a Snorlax's Gormandize, provided he can thin this hand out a little bit.
Well, there's a Trekking Shoes. Takes a look, immediately gets rid of that boss's orders, grabs the Ultra Ball. That's going to help thin out the hand very much.
Absolutely.
So. Being able to drop the Ultra Ball and 2 more cards. Obviously, can be thrown away a number of options. There's a Roxanne, which he must have got off the Peonia earlier. You know, the Team Yell as well. Being able to get rid of all of that, and grabs the Meowth.
Yeah, interesting. Azul's only got the 1 copy of the Team Yell's Cheer. Really an important card for this combo, but I guess technically you do only need 1. Put back your supporter cards, and as long as your Silenes don't flip too many tails, you should be just fine. Yeah,
the Silenes, I think, are fractionally more important here. And obviously things get a little bit roomy. Galarian Meowth hitting the bench. Discard those 2. You know, take a look through the deck.
Where's my Berserker?
To look for the Berserker that doesn't exist. But Joshua doesn't know that, and that's absolutely fine. A nice Power Pad here to get some of those supporters that have been quite liberally thrown away back in. It looks like there's the Team Yell Cheer. Oh, yep, and then you've got some options for your second. There's no Silene in there. That's not the biggest priority right now.
Yeah, I think the research makes a lot of sense here. It's a card you'd love to see off the Gormandize here, just so you can keep getting through the deck. And that's really the main goal for Azul in these early turns. He's not putting on pressure. He's not attacking. That's not really what his deck does. He just wants to get to as low of a deck size as possible, get his Mewtwo V Union pieces into the discard pile, find the ideal turn, put that V Union into play, and then use Union Gain, and then just start healing turn after turn after turn.
I can't believe you didn't find the Berserker. I'm honestly shocked.
You know, we're all still looking at him, but
yeah, it's
we'll be looking for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you can check it, but it does help so much with thinning out that hand. You know, these Gormandizers, another Peonia. So if there's something he wants in the in the prizes, rather, he'll be able to go and get that. But it's going to be a little while. It does look like he's got the Pyukumuku in hand, which is definitely one of the more interesting choices in this deck.
Yeah, that pitch a Pyukumuku ability, you can just put it from your hand onto the bottom of your deck and draw a card. It works perfectly in a deck like this where you're just trying to get through the deck and just trying to draw cards.
Yeah, he needs to get through it, you know, to get these V-Union pieces. As another Snorlax goes down, there is going to be a Crushing Hammer off the top. So maybe able to slow things down a little bit there. But honestly, Joshua's, you know, kind of got the ball rolling exactly how he wants. He's got his Duraludon set up, and he's got that Arceus V-Star set
Here's
up
the flip.
as well. Yep, there's the fighting energy gone.
I was going to be a little interested to see which of the two choices Azul went with. Would it be getting rid of the double turbo energy on the active, try to slow down the active Arceus, or get rid of that fighting energy because you know it is that third and final copy? Azul doesn't know Joshua has the Ordinary Rod in list, so I think either way, getting rid of the fighting energy is just fine. You know, you force your opponent to go find that Ordinary Rod. But Azul is probably, until he sees that Ordinary Rod, feeling very comfortable about this because this Duraludon is something he could, even boss's orders, bring up and stall in the active.
Yeah, well, now he's going back into the deck with the Quick Ball, looking for another one of these basic Pokemon. You have to imagine the Snorlax is looking pretty tempting once again. If he can get that back into the active and get another big Gormandize off, that would be absolutely huge for him. But throwing away the Peonia, he's got 2 in hand now, doesn't need both of them. Doesn't look like he's going to be taking anything too crazy, not taking anything. And there's the Silene. So yeah, the roll. Ooh, 1 heads, 1 tails. Does mean, yeah, he gets to grab that Crushing Hammer. But, you know, does need a reliable way to draw this turn.
The first of many flips we are undoubtedly going to see in this set.
There's the Gormandize Snorlax. Just getting that into the active through help of the Scoop Up Net, bringing the Evoltile back to the hand and putting it back onto the bench. 5 cards coming off the top. You know, looks like there's a little bit of variety in there. There is another Crushing Hammer in hand, so something he's able to keep on going with. But we go back over to Joshua's side. And Avery, this turn, not going to limit the bench space, but it is going to draw Joshua 3 cards.
Yeah, effectively playing a hop or a chair in, right, at this point. Tierno, take your pick.
How? Was How one of them?
Yes, indeed. Drawing 3 cards. No effect here, Azul not having that many benched Pokemon.
Yep, and another Pokemon knocked out there by the Arceus. So down in prizes, getting pretty significant for Azul. Probably needs to find his way to lock that game up a little bit sooner rather than later. Honestly, not seen many V-Union pieces. A Tails on the Crushing Hammer.
Second
hammer. A Tails.
Ooh.
That's not what you want out of those very useful item cards here. You know, Azul looking through the hand, seeing what options he's got available there, and the Peonia to go in and take a look at the rest of those prizes, the 3 that he didn't look at before.
And he knows that there's a Snorlax in these prize cards still, so definitely a card he'll be happy to take at this point so that he can continue to Gormandize, continue to get through. It's just a matter of which other 3 cards do you know you're okay not having access to the rest of this game.
Yeah, I think the Miltank's definitely something that's probably going to go back into the prizes.
Yeah, probably the Sydney as well doesn't seem like a very strong card. It lets you look at your opponent's hand and then discard any combination up to 2 of Special Energy and Stadium cards. So not an incredible card in this matchup. A very good, useful disruption and control card, though.
Oh, yeah, but right now, I mean, all the energy's down. You know,
right.
And the Stadium fight isn't really worth taking, I don't think. I mean, I think it's going to be... I mean, it could be, right? Like, you could be able to take away one of those Crystal Caves, bump this one, then he's only got 1 more, and then bump the other one with another Path to the Peak. So, yeah,
Ooh.
Sydney, Team Yell's cheer
I'm
going back.
a little confused to see that. That's his 1 copy, correct?
Yep, that's the the Flannery going in there as well. So, you know, it looks like Azul's really not playing the Stadium game.
I mean, he can always Peonia again, right?
Yeah.
Use Pal Pad, get this Peonia back, so that might be what he's thinking. And because Peonia allows you to put your prize cards back exactly where you want, you don't have to shuffle or anything, he knows which one of those prizes is his Team Yell's cheer. So maybe he's just putting it there for safekeeping for now.
Yeah, he took the top 3, wants to be smart about it. That Twin Energy being used to retreat the Evoltile, and Snorlax gets back into the active. Guess what happens when Snorlax goes to the active? Makes a lot of sense. He's just checking the discard, making sure he knows what pieces are where. You know, it's going to be a quick throwaway with the Galarian Meowth, the Evolution Roar.
So many Mewtwo pieces still
in
the deck.
I know, they're all in there. It's kind of crazy, but, you know, now he's had a little shuffle up. Could this Gormandize just pull all of them out?
I wonder if a good play for Joshua here at this point, recognizing that Azul hasn't gotten that many Mewtwo pieces in the discard pile. You know, he's down several Ultra Balls as well. What if Joshua went Boss's Orders KO your Meowth right now? All of a sudden, Azul's going to have a harder time getting rid of those Mewtwo pieces.
It's a guaranteed discard of 2 pieces, and I think he got a couple off that one. Yeah, he's got 2 pieces.
He does still have an Ultra Ball, though, so it might not matter too much.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get it set up this game. I think there's a lot of work to do. Just to be able to make sure that, you know, the Mewtwo V-Union is set up properly. But, I mean, we've gone through, that's 3 Snorlaxes now that have been knocked out. And, yeah, no sign of the Mewtwo V-Union coming to play yet. So, Azul's still got a good amount of work to set it up and get that kind of late game lock-up situation that he wants to try and find.
So Joshua being at 3 prize cards now and taking 1 this turn is going to put Azul in a kind of tough spot. You know, he's got to make something happen pretty soon. He's got to get the Mewtwo in play. He's got to Union Gain and try to set up his whole combo because, ooh, and Joshua is going for this play. I like this so much. Bring up this Meowth, make it as hard as possible for Azul to get those pieces in the discard pile. Really smart play. That
Meowth's been really, really helpful for discarding cards and getting maximum value out of these Gormandizers, but being able to limit those options feels really, really good, as he is going to take another one of the prizes. It's going down to just 2 prizes remaining. A Trekking Shoes, looks like the Tool Jammer's going, and then, yep, there's the Pyukumuku once again coming back into the hand. So it made its way all the way from the bottom. Looks like we're going to have the Ultra Ball discarding 2 pieces of the Mewtwo V Union. There's still 1 piece in there, and not many other cards left in the deck for Azul. So, you know, would like... you know, if you can grab it and then reliably get rid of it, that would be something to look at, because he probably needs it in play this turn. So yeah, he does take that piece, the bottom right, with that Ultra Ball, but he needs a way to pitch it into the discard this turn, I think.
This decision from Joshua to boss's orders the Meowth is what is going to potentially win him this game. Azul cannot discard the Mewtwo from his hand as of now. He needs to find a way to do it, and Silene could find it. This is a huge flip, and he does hit double tails, unable to get back a Quick Ball or a Ultra Ball in order to get rid of this Mewtwo piece, because he could have just drawn the card off Pyukumuku.
Yeah, he needed a
Now he needs to find Quick Ball. He needs to find Quick Ball. He had 1 Quick Ball left in the deck. Does he find it? No.
Yeah, I don't think it went on the bottom. Oh, did it not? Yeah, I think... I can fix it for you real quick. If you want to stand it here?
Yeah, I think there's an issue. Joshua was saying that maybe that Pyukumuku didn't quite go on the bottom. Sometimes these new sleeves get a little slick, so the judge is just going to take a look, and the game will go on.
I mean, the judge can just look at it, make sure it's on the bottom. Easy fix right
and
there.
This is really tough for Azul. He cannot put the Mewtwo in play this turn. I think he's done being able to draw cards. He's not going to be able to pull off his combo, so he has 1 more turn to try to do this. He can Gormandize for a couple, and then he needs to start finding his other pieces. He needs to get a Quick Ball here in order to discard the Mewtwo, most likely, and I think there is just the 1 left in deck. He's counting how many cards are available. I think it's only like 5 or 6.
He doesn't want to deck out, but he's also not going to draw that many. He's got 5 in hand, so he draws 2.
Is there a Quick Ball?
There's
I don't see it yet.
There's a Trekking Shoes and a Path to the Peak off the top, so really not the most impactful right now, but the Trekking Shoes allows you to dig a little bit more. So, you know, if you think about how many are in deck, okay, you've got 3 in deck, Trekking Shoes, maybe able to get there. You've obviously got your draw for turn as well. It'd be very unfortunate if it was his last one. But that knockout on the, on the Meowth, huge.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that Joshua was able to identify, okay, Azul's down a lot of these pieces. If I can take this piece out, maybe Azul will have a hard time discarding it. And it's also back to Azul's deck building choice to only play 1 Galarian Meowth. You know, in Sanders' top 4 list from NAIC, he played 2 copies of that card because of how important it is. This is it. Azul has to set up Mewtwo this turn or the game is over.
There it is.
He does find the Quick Ball on the top of the deck, which is absolutely massive, and I do believe that Scoop Up Net is waiting in hand. It's V-Union time, Adam.
It's finally here. It's only taken a large portion of the game, so certainly not the quickest setup for it there. Looks like he's going to search with that Quick Ball. Of course, Josh is down to his last prize. He's going to take the Pyukumuku.
He is. There's only 2 cards left in the deck. Azul, does he have... He does have the Peonia, so that is going to be his way, get back the Team Yell's cheer. He knows where it is because he put it there earlier, and that is how he's going to put cards back into his deck. With only 2 in there right now, it could definitely feel a little sketchy, but he's played this out exactly how he needed to. He is down to the wire, and look at him. He's checking he's drawn a little picture, I think, on the side, figured out exactly where he put each of his 6 prizes, so he knows exactly which ones are the best for him to take here on the Peonia. Let's see what the 3 are.
Yeah, more than entitled to do that with the note-taking. I mean, notes are available to both players, and I saw him with the little boogie board earlier doing the writing. I'm not sure exactly what brand it was, but it looked very helpful for him, and now he's being so diligent with this Peoria.
I mean, if he messes this up, it is game losing. So he needs to make sure he takes the exact right 3 cards. He's going to be as careful as possible here.
Well, don't forget, he was very, very slow earlier. There's the Sydney.
He did take the Team Yell, so that's good.
And the Twin Energy. Okay, so he's leaving the Flannery, the Path to the Peak, and the Scoop Up Net. But the Team Yell is really, really big, I think. That's the one he needed to hit.
And he can put 3 cards back. Yeah, the Team Yellow is really definitely the most important one. And I think it's about time here, figuring out what this last card is to go back. Yeah, Ultra Ball's not useful. Research does put back the Twin Energy, so 1 less energy to work with, it looks like. But he can always Peonia once again, assuming he doesn't flip too many tails on his Silene.
No, the Silenes need to be impactful as well.
V-Union!
There's the V-Union. Not quite sure about this layout. Would like to see this one laid out a little bit neater.
What are we doing here? What's happening?
Don't know if I agree with this. We will, of course, be starting out with the Union Gain, though. So those earlier Psychic Energies we saw way back when, going on to the full corner of it. As we dip around all 4 corners, and it's set up. There is a full Pokemon in there.
Yes, hidden somewhere in the V-Union.
No, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. I've seen them before. I don't know why everyone.
And now Joshua here, waiting to draw the card to get the game going.
Oh, that was your attack.
Or
My
keep
bad.
it going.
Yep, there we go. Joshua, you know, maybe there's a good amount of things to know about this Mewtwo V-Union, so making sure that exactly what went down has worked out. But there, of course, is the 180 damage.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick from here, I think.
Yeah, Team Yell's Cheer getting the Silene along with the Cook, and let's see what else he takes. Another Silene. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you kind of got to put back the Silene, because if you
need
don't
to
put back the Silene, you need to put back both, that is, because if you flip double tails on the one, your game is just over. I'm kind of surprised to not see Palpad be one of the 2 choices, honestly. It could have been Silene, Palpad, or at least 1 Silene and a Palpad, but regardless, 2 Silene going back in, and now Azul can go with the regeneration. And we're finally getting the good layout here, Adam. There it is in all its glory, Mewtwo V-Union.
Yeah, thank you. Super Regeneration, heal 200 damage from this Pokemon, just cleans it off of all of the damage that has racked up on it. You know, and it's going to be definitely a slog, I think, for Azul right now to keep on going through this. Yeah, Josh is just trying to attack into him every single time, and a double heads on the Silene. So now he can go find some of those important cards. That Palpad going to be one that, yeah, double Palpad makes so much sense here. Start filling up those supporter cards, get them bad boys back in. As, yeah, once again, he just heals himself right up with the Super Regeneration. And there really is no easy way for Josh to be able to power through this. Look, 180 hits it. Wow, I wonder what's happening at the end of the turn. As a Sydney on this one. It did go in the prizes earlier with the Peonia,
we brought it back.
Yeah.
So Azul will get to take a peek at the hand, discard any combination up to 2 of stadiums, tool cards, and special energy. And actually no targets there in the hand, but Azul is going to take a look, see exactly what Joshua has access to. Also making note mentally for a potential Game 2 or Game 3. What does my opponent play in this list?
Nothing wrong with taking a look at your opponent's hand if you get it for free. And yeah, there it is. The heal for 200. The dice are going back on in exactly the same way, and we know exactly what's happening to them. Unsurprisingly, there was a Palpad drawn there.
Going to be pretty quick turns from here on out.
I mean, there's not much really to do, is there? You just got to hope that something misses, maybe with the Silenes coming through.
That really is Azul's only lose condition at this point, and that's why off of the double heads from Silene, we just saw him immediately put back 2 Palpads, because he recognizes if I flip too many tails, I will eventually deck out and lose. So I need to put back as many ways as possible to get back this key supporter card so that I can ensure that won't happen.
Yep. Well, there is the regeneration once again as Silene.
You sound so enthused.
Look, it's I'd just like to hear them make a bit more show of it. They're going quite quickly. I'm not going to really take in the moment. I also like that Azul's throwing the dice away so casually that they're rolling off the set 180. I think he'd be a little bit more respectful.
Another double heads. Are you kidding me?
Well, he gets his choice. There's the hammer. There's the hammer. You know, those are going back on the top. And he's going to be able to keep things going. He's still got that Palpad in hand from earlier. And once again, the regeneration, making sure that's
and this is how Azul can accelerate this game. If he was ever worried about Game 1 potentially not finishing, which would mean that these players tied this round, Azul can put on the pressure with these crushing hammers and eventually get to a point where he can find a turn to play the Cook supporter, we saw him put back earlier, to heal 70 damage, take himself out of range of being 2-hit KO'd, and then go in with one of Mewtwo V-Union's other big attacks.
Yep, well, here's a crushing hammer, and it's going to be a Tails on that one, so not as fortunate as the Silenes as well. just going to be able to keep things going as he looks through the discard just to make sure everything he needs is needed. There is going to be the Pal Pad for the Team Yell Cheer and then another Silene as well. So making a lot of sense. Will eventually draw into those. Path to the Peak may be coming into play here, but really the deck is a perfect lock set up right now and a casual discard once again with the Super Regeneration.
Look at how many cards Joshua has in hand right now. I think it's bigger than his deck size at this point. He's got so many cards just from the many turns of this attack and then Super Regeneration, then attack and then Super Regeneration.
Yep, well, Pitcher Pukumuku gets that Team Yell Cheer right off the bat. That's going to be immediately played. Why not? You know that your Silenes are in there as well. You know, a combination of Pokemon and supporter cards. A Boss's Orders looks like it's coming out as well. And there we see, the Sydney once again.
And this would be huge for Azul if he can pull off the Boss's Orders, bring up this Duraludon before Joshua is able to find the Ordinary Rod and get back those fighting energies. We could see the Psysplosion start to spread damage onto this benched Arceus and set up for a 2-hit knockout on it.
I like that. I mean, if you've got the time to do that, you know, the Silene's going to be able to get you back. Potentially some good options. Oh, it looks like it's going to be a change, actually. The Peonia... Oh, no. We're still deliberating.
Peonia and Silene.
Yep.
He can choose up to 2 cards, and I think it was just the 2 choices.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to make with the Team Yell Cheer. But once again, Super Regeneration coming through.
And there is the Ordinary Rod. Azul definitely going to be making note of that. Joshua actually putting back a couple of Pokemon as well. Okay, makes sense. Not only does he want to draw into these fighting energies, but he wants to put more cards in his deck and make this game take as long as possible. I think at this point, Joshua probably recognizes he's not going to win this game unless Azul gets very unlucky. And so if this game just lasted its full normal amount of time and Azul wasn't able to win before the 50 minutes was up, Joshua could still come away with a tie.
Yep, there's the Silene, and it's going to be a heads and a tails on this one, so a nice little bit of variety. Crushing Hammer going right back in as his one choice. Looks like Joshua's deck getting pretty thin in this one, but 180 damage on it. There's the Trekking Shoes right into that Crushing Hammer. Easy choice, and it's going to be a tails, so that fighting energy stays to live for another day. The Path to the Peak finally hits to turn off the ability from that Duraludon V-Star, V-Max, my apologies. And then we'll be able to see another Power Pad. Guess what? Those trainers are going back in, and Azul shuffling the tiniest deck I think he can get down to. Look at how delicately Joshua has to cut that one.
Super Regeneration healing that damage off once again. Joshua with the switch in hand as well, so now Azul's Boss's Orders play to use Psysplosion is going to work even less. And he's actually going in with the Duraludon here, and that is because he's not going to be dealing less than 200 damage now. In fact, he'll be dealing 220 damage, so damage may start to stack up on this Mewtwo.
Yep, that's going to start to really cause some problems. You know, it's going to be a long old turn, but he's going to be able to get there. The Silene, let's see how these go. Oh, one heads, one tails. That's about right, about fair. The Crushing Hammer coming through again. You know, that as soon as these fighting energies go away, then you're going to be able to start healing off everything again with the, you know, the Super Regeneration.
And this reason exactly is why we saw Azul put the Cook back earlier. So if his Pokemon does ever get in danger of being KO'd, he'll be able to use that Cook, heal it down even further.
Yep, and there we go. That is very confusing. I hope the players can deliberate what is going on with that
What was
one.
the dice that, what was it, a heads or tails that Joshua picked up? It was a tails, it looks like.
Yeah, but the other one moved.
Yeah, they've got it figured out, though.
They
He's got the 40
out.
damage on the side that he'll remain on after using that Super Regeneration.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like the Crushing Hammer going to be effective there. Trainers immediately agreeing. It looked like that way. Just wanted to get some clarification on that one, and I'm glad they discussed it and figured it out easily.
I think Azul just asked Joshua how many cards were in his hand, and I'm pretty sure I heard Joshua say 22, which is wild.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. But this Duraludon VMAX just swinging with the G-Max Pulverization every single time. Here comes the Cook, so being able to heal off some more of that damage, 70 damage going away, and making sure that you know, this Super Regeneration is easy to get it all the way back down. But there is not many cards left in the deck for Azul. There's the 220 once again. These players just swinging back and forth.
And we just heard Joshua actually ask Azul how many cards were in the hand, and that is a important ask because that is another potential win condition. If Azul ever made a mistake and accidentally left too
It's
few
all
of
heads.
cards available in the hand in the deck, Marnie could theoretically deck him out.
Yep, well, there's going to be 2 heads from this Silene, though, so feeling pretty good, able to go in and grab some more options there. The Cook going back with the Crushing Hammer as well, of course, making sure that the the Crushing Hammer will come through this turn. Maybe you can finally get rid of that fighting energy and then get the Cook, even later on a little bit. If that next fighting energy comes out, it's going to be absolutely huge. But here we go. There's the Crushing Hammer. 3 cards left, I believe, for Azul. Needs to hit one of these. It's going to be another Tails.
He has flipped like 5 Tails in a row on the Crushing Hammer, which is definitely having an impact here.
Yep.
If he'd have hit at least a couple of these heads, he would really have slowed Joshua down quite a bit.
Yep, and there's going to be the Cook. We knew that one was coming through as the healing just goes through. Yeah, Cook and Super Regeneration.
Yep.
Get rid of everything, but immediately fired back with the 220. These Silenes need to be important, and honestly, when things are getting this close, a big whiff on a Silene is going to be huge. Team Yell Cheer coming through once again. That's going to be Silene, Cook. They've been really important. It makes a lot of sense to shuffle those back in.
Absolutely. Azul is, always on the edge of his seat here. Every single one of these flips could be incredibly impactful if he was ever to hit a couple of Tails. And Joshua's going pretty quickly here, not slow playing by any means. He wants to make sure that this game is going to complete if it's going to, and, that there wouldn't be any slow play allegations or anything like that, making sure there's plenty of time. Azul does find the Cook here, so he can heal this turn if he wants to.
I like how he's dividing it too. He's keeping the 200 on the top left, and then the extra damage that's racking up on the top right. So being able to show that makes a lot of sense. And it's just coming right back down every single time. The Cook not coming through on that turn, though. Maybe trying to save it for a little bit later. Wants to hit one of those hammers before wasting it. Getting maximum value out of it that time. 70 is more valuable than the 60.
We just see once again a swing with the G-Max Pulverization, now pushing that damage up to 230, I believe, total on this active.
Yep, keep.
Draw for card, draw for turn. That is Azul's last. If he flips double Tails here,
this could be done. Oh, it's
off the table. No way.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be the Pal Pad. Okay, we know about. And that's going to be the last card as well. So we're Pal Padding next turn. We absolutely have to.
And things are getting a little dangerous here for Azul. He's really going to need to start hitting some more heads on these hammers on those specific turns.
Oh, he's definitely. But weaving in those hammers, he's now spending so many resources just making sure that he's able to access his Silenes, access his Cooks, and keep on going.
32 cards in Joshua's hand right now.
Lordy. And one of those, honestly, could just be the fighting energy as well. I don't think we've even seen, because he doesn't need to show us.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, here's the Pal Pad. You got Cook, you got Team Yell Cheer, and then there's the healing as well. So the next couple of turns, we're gonna be trucking on. It's Team Yell for this one, as the Pyukumuku allows him to just draw the Cook. There's Cook, there's the 70, there's the Super Generation, back to nothing. But at the end of the day, if Azul's able to cling on with just one card, that's gonna be absolutely huge.
Yeah, that was correct.
And then the Marnie. Finally, a supporter coming down from Joshua, trying to disrupt this endgame strategy from Azul.
Needing to shuffle the hand in and reset how many cards are available in the deck so that Joshua is not the one decking out. And it turns out that was Joshua's entire deck in hand right there.
Yes, that is maybe a little bit too much, and it's going to extend this game quite significantly. Honestly, Azul, let's tidy up the union. It's getting a little sloppy now.
It's been moved around too many times by moving that damage on and off.
Yeah. It's just good gameplay. Just compare how neat the boards are.
I know. Azul's really got to step his game up, right?
It's pretty despicable. But he does have some important cards in hand. That Marnie not exactly punishing him because he had so few resources. Every resource was very, very important. I already see the Silene, the Team Yell, able to kind of build that deck back up once again. But it's going to be Silene on this turn because the Team Yell, you want to be able to grab that Silene out later.
Yes.
It's going to be another roll off the side, as he does go in, looking for those important items. There's going to be the Crushing Hammer.
Double heads, it looks like.
And the Cook. So a lot of really good options. The Cook has been important to make sure that this extraneous damage from the 220 doesn't keep racking up. And I think Azul's playing it really, obviously the correct way. Hammer, flip.
Another Tails?
way.
No way.
It's going to be a Tails. Joshua bringing it into the table. This is just extending the game, and Azul knows he needs to get rid of these fighting energies, because as soon as he does, he's in a winning position, I think. That's going to be absolutely huge.
I think
but
you
he's
literally flipped the hammer over, and that's it.
just not able. Players just making sure that we're all on board with where we are in the
Yeah,
turn.
a little bit of the question was Azul's decision to immediately flip the hammer over as opposed to just drawing it for a turn. He wanted to make sure he actually did draw a card. Yes, indeed, that did happen. It just got flipped to Tails immediately.
Yeah, I mean, Azul just really wants to get rid of that fighting energy. But I
Badly.
mean, Joshua's done everything he can, right? He's just attacking every single turn, keeping that pressure on with the Duraludon V Max. And he just needs something to go horribly wrong for Azul. That's really what he needs.
And it's really starting to go horribly wrong for Azul. He needs to hit some heads at some point. Otherwise, this game might not even finish. It's actually kind of funny because Azul's way that he ended up winning in top 4 was due to a lot of Tails flips from Sander. He was, you know, a little short on some of his hammers. If things had gone a little bit differently, maybe it would have been Sander playing in the finals as opposed to Azul. But here we are. We find ourselves with Azul having the Mewtwo V Union this time.
Yep, the Azul just starting to get that damage racked up on him as well. Does have the Silenes in hand. Is just going to keep going with the super regeneration. You know, and it's starting to add up, right? I mean, it's starting to get there. But you know, he's got the cook. Immediately able. Oh no, that's he's 10 damage short there. He needs to rack it up one more because it's going to be a full value cook for 70, but leave 10 behind. That's going to be absolutely huge from here. You know, getting the full value cook is probably one of the best ways to extend this game.
So Azul needs to cook very soon. He's got it in
I think
hand.
he has to cook this turn.
I think he can do it for one more turn. If there's 90 damage on the Mewtwo, that means that Duraludon dealing 220 would lead to 310, which would be the knockout. So 80 damage would have been safe for one more turn, but it's a little risky because you don't know. Oh, this is huge.
Oh,
if he needs at least one of these to be heads, or else the game could be over. He's not been putting back Pal Pads, I don't think.
I don't know where those have been going.
Okay, at least one heads.
So okay, there's a Pal Pad. He needs a Pal Pad back in the Team Yell. That's the big concern here is being able to reliably get those supporters out. The Team Yell obviously can get him, you know, all the pieces that he needs, right? The Silenes, the cooks.
Yes.
But then he needs the Silene to guarantee the Pal Pad. Every single time. So yeah, here we go. Let's get those back in. See where we're at with those. And keep on going.
And Joshua, I mean, it's kind of funny that there's only 20 damage getting added to this Mewtwo every single turn, and it really is adding up, and it's forcing Azul's hand quite a bit, forcing him to go find that cook and put it back whenever he could be using Team Yell's Cheer on those turns or using Silene on those turns to get more hammers. He really needs to have some of these hammers land and try to slow Joshua down.
I know, but he needs to find time to get the hammers into his deck, though, because they just keep getting stuck. The big problem is, how do you get the hammers out when you're only hitting one Silene heads?
Exactly. It definitely becomes an issue. We do see the Team Yell's Cheer in hand, so that can put back Cook, Silene, and it will just be those two, it looks like.
He's got the other Silene in hand. Doesn't need any other cards at this juncture.
No.
You know, he just needs to be able to hit, you know, the Silene. I think maybe, you know, there's the Cook, so not the one he wants this exact turn. But he does.
Said Cook Silene and didn't say heal, and I started my turn, but I knew you were healing. We're good. Yeah, this is.
It's a little bit of a confusion here with the players at the table. It looks like Azul was moving his dice, but maybe didn't say anything. But these players both know what intention was. So yeah, Azul here was able to heal. Now Joshua has thrown another attack off, and we will see Silene does flip one Tails. And another Tails.
It's not looking good for these Silenes, and this is so much time just taking out the round. You know, there's the damage coming back. There we go, up to 60 damage. It's 60 extra damage, if you will, like you say. We need to be up there. Okay, I think Azul really needs to hit a double head.
He needs at least one. That is for sure.
There's one.
And he does find the one.
Okay, so we don't know what the other one is because it's off the table. It's going to be the Pal Pad. Yeah, I mean, he has to hit the one because he has to keep the Pal Pad loop going with the Team Yell.
He is definitely flirting with disaster here at this point. Just a couple of Tails away from this going quite wrong.
Yep, and then the Pal Pad, so we can grab the
It's got to be the Yell Cheer and the Cook. The Cook has to go back. And it's so funny that this card, the Cook, a card from Fusion Strike that nobody thought anything about whenever it came out, is the difference between Azul winning and losing this game right now.
This is correct. Okay.
Looks like we're just making sure we get the damage exactly right. Things get a little confusing here whenever these players are trying to play very quickly. It's definitely understandable how things could get a little confusing.
It would be a little bit easier if he kept the V Union in order, you know. if he kept that one in not this shoddy formation that he's got, maybe it would be clearer. Of course, the Pyukumuku going back to the bottom, being able to draw the card that he didn't draw. There's the Cook. And there's the super regeneration.
Yep.
I don't think I need to talk everyone through the turn this time.
I think we're all on board at this point.
Yep. 220 goes down. Azul plays some cards, and he heals everything.
And there's 2 Silenes and the Cook going back with the team yells cheer, and here we are. The loop has continued.
Yeah, he really needs one of these double turns, though, where he gets a double heads on Silene.
Yeah, otherwise this game's just not going to end.
Yeah, well, there's the Silene. Here come the rolls for it. Not going to show us. Well, there's one tails already. Double tails
again. Oh, my goodness.
He needs to have a good Silene at some point, because he needs a crushing hammer, but he can't stop dropping pal pads.
Look good? Yep.
Now back to Azul.
He's got the Cook in hand, and the pitch on the Pyukumuku.
And I think this is for that Silene.
Yeah, he's going Silene.
There's one.
Oh, there's one. Oh. Well, we know what's going back in, but it's not going to be the crushing hammer. Just not able to get that. I mean, Joshua hasn't advanced his board in like 20 turns, if not more, probably 50.
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
A lot of turns.
Holding on. There's the Cook.
Had to be this turn. Needed to get rid of that damage.
Every time he sits on 80 damage, like left over, he has to Cook.
I'm sorry.
Or 90, right. Or 80 is close, and then...
Yeah.
It's like Azul, I think, at this point knows Joshua doesn't have a damage modifier like a Choice Belt or Galarian Zigzagoon or something like that. Not commonly played cards in Duraludon anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a slog, this one. I mean, we're going to time. We've got 7 minutes left, so we'll make sure we're nice and comfortable on this one. He needs a double heads. That's the only way Azul wins this game.
At some point, yeah, needs to get a bunch of cards back, and he needs to hit a heads on one of these crushing hammers as well.
It's taken him so long to get rid of this single fighting energy. He does know Joshua has another one in the deck, right?
Yes.
Because he put 2 in with the ordinary rock.
Right, so there is another one lurking around somewhere.
I mean, it could be... Honestly, at this point, it's 50-50 if it's in his hand or deck, because they're both the same size.
Right. And it's totally randomized from the Marnie like 20 turns ago, right?
I forgot there was a Marnie.
It's been too long.
Yeah. Okay. It's the gif of the old woman. Like it's been a few hundred years.
80, indeed. Azul with just 2 cards remaining in deck now. Only 4 in the hand.
I wonder what they are.
I think Adam's on the edge of insanity over here.
This is not, I mean, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Lou, who we've done some Celesteela stall matches with in the VG, which has trained me very well for this occasion. So I'm used to this situation. He's going to be able to get that last card because he's got the Pyukumuku.
There is the Cook in hand. Will be played this turn, it looks like.
Yep.
It's going to be a total of 5 cards available. He is once again riding on this Silene this coming turn.
Yeah, the Silene's going to be going to make sure he can draw it.
Or Team Yell's cheer, excuse me.
We're a little bit further along in the loop, Chip. We're certainly there.
It's kind of hard to remember where you are in the circle.
Yeah. We're at Team Yell cheer bit now, but we've got to get through the Silene bit with some Cook bits in the middle.
Pyukumuku gets pitched.
Did he go from 2 to...
Yeah, there's enough damage on there.
I didn't know if you... Oh, here we go.
There's that double heads. What you said he
goodness.
Needed. Now finally an opportunity to get a hammer back into the deck. And he can even get it this turn, I believe. I think that Pyukumuku... Oh, maybe it is on the bottom of the deck? Yeah, it doesn't quite have it this turn. So draw for turn. Here comes the hammer. Azul is picking up his pace of play here because it's been so long, and he does hit a tails on this hammer. I think it's like 6 or 7 tails on hammers in a row at this point.
Well, he finally got the hammer, though, which means, he can hit heads on Silenes, and cleans up everything with the Cook. It's just going to be a nice, solid loop. There's the pal pad, obviously. Get those team yells back in. Team Yell cheer. Make sure the pieces are there. I mean, there's so much of this discard that he doesn't even look at anymore. Yeah, he just pal pads in the Cook and the Team Yell cheer. Once again, we're at that point in the loop. We're going to go round through the Team Yell. Then we're going to put the Silene and the Cook back, probably both Silenes and the Cook back in at that point. Just to make sure that he's staying around this game. There is just going to be the super regeneration. So.
What's so wild about this, Adam, is that if Joshua didn't choose to play Ordinary Rod, this game would probably be over by now.
Yep.
Azul would have attacked and won, found opportunities to just close the game out because he removed those fighting energies earlier in the game. But the fact that Joshua was able to get 2 more back has really made all the difference.
Yep, and it's going to be the Cook in the discard, so it does need to find a way to get this Pal Pad back and get that Cook into his hand again. That's going to be 1 heads, 1 tails.
Yep.
So it looks like
I'll
the...
go first game 2.
Ooh, I think Joshua is actually just conceding here.
Oh, my.
Which, after all that time, is very interesting. There was so much time gone. Maybe Joshua just wants a chance to steal a quick win in game number 2. I'm really surprised to see him choose to scoop, but I did hear him say, I'll go first in game 2.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And, you know, spending so much time allowing Azul to demonstrate the loop there feels very wasteful as far as time goes.
Maybe we're at the point, you know, both of these players being at 5-0-1. A win for either of them secures them a spot in day 2. A tie is just kind of annoying. You have to win one of your next 2 to get yourself into day 2. And it's really kind of the same as a loss if you're just trying to make it into that second day of competition. So maybe Joshua was saying, you know what, this game is either going to result in me losing or us tying. And I don't really think I want to tie. I'm going to try to get a quick win in this next one. Though I guess that would still lead to a tie, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would have to be 2 quick ones in a row.
Yeah, and maybe he's just, I mean, time's a little bit of a mystery at this point after so many super regenerations, but certainly feels like a bold choice there from Joshua. Definitely feels very, very wasteful. I think as soon as time is called, if he doesn't have, you know, an easy out, he'll probably know, but you know, all Azul needs to do is just feed him up some single prizes for a little bit, and there's no way that Josh can grab that win.
We're at 2.5 minutes left in this round, so
we're still drawing up the opening hands too. And you think even if he goes first, he's not going to get to attack that turn. Azul's going to keep going, and even worse, you see Josh displaying a mulligan over to Azul there. So
yeah, I think if Josh wanted to concede, he really should have just done it like maybe 15 minutes ago. At this point, it feels like you're just hoping to play a tie, and whereas if you had just continued to play that game out, you still had a chance to tie. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
now you're just giving yourself a lose condition effectively this round, a -1 match point.
I mean, how many times did he see Azul get away with, you know, getting 1 heads on Silene, exactly what he needed?
Right.
You know, was waiting for basically, you know, all the Silenes to go back in with a team yell, and then all of them hit tails, like the Crushing Hammers.
All right, we see the bottom left leg. We see the Pyukumuku. Not the best prizes for Azul, but of course Silene can fetch those things, or sorry, excuse me, Peonia can fetch those things out later on. Joshua with a couple of basics prized. Not going to be too big of a deal since this is a deck where you really only need 2 basics in play.
All right, well, we're going to see some cards played by Joshua Frink in this game as he immediately quick balls away the boss's orders. The Arceus V in the active, and he is going to make sure he gets another basic Pokemon down, and is going to have that time, of course, to check through his deck and see what's in his prizes, a key skill for many top trainers of the game. The Duraludon V hitting the bench there, but not going to be that easy to power up. I think as soon as time is called, the writing's kind of on the wall here, depending on what Azul lays out on his turn. But the pace of play has gone rapidly there. The Tool Jammer being attached to the Arceus V, and a very quick pass as Azul. It's time to Peonia. He's going to find those pieces in the prizes as he pulls them out diligently. You can see that he's going to be able to look at those and take some notes. Ooh, need to leave that in the active Azul. You need 1 up there.
Joshua did miss an energy attachment this turn, so it's even less likely he's going to pull off an attack. With only 40 seconds left, this is definitely just going to end this next couple of turns. I mean, unless Azul maybe gets really unlucky and just cannot ever find another basic Pokemon, and Joshua just takes the tie anyway, but...
He's already seen the mill tank, I believe, in the hand.
From that prizes.
In the prizes, yeah. It was in his... oh, but he's throwing back mill tanks.
Okay.
So he's not been able to find the Pyukumuku or the upper left legs. But, you know... yeah, sorry, bottom left leg. And, you know, obviously Azul feels confident that he's going to be able to get everything down. So as you can see, that little note-taking device, he described it as like an Etch-a-Sketch earlier, but it seems like a little board to me. But he knows he has ways to be able to access Pokemon in his deck. He's already holding on to an Ultra Ball.
And we'll see him check his prize cards here as well. He wants to see how many Mewtwo pieces there are available and how many are in the prizes. We do know, of course, there is 1. Well, actually, you know what? Azul isn't worried about checking his prize cards at this point. I think, yeah, Joshua sees the writing on the wall. Azul gets another basic Pokemon. Joshua scoops it up, and Azul Garcia Griego moves to 6-0-1 with the Mewtwo V Union. locking himself for a berth in day 2.
What an absolute slog that game 1 was, and being able to show exactly how the deck locks things down. I thought very disrespectful at the end of game 2 to discard the cook that did so much work for him. But now you got to dig through your bulk and make sure you have access to those, because that is such a vital card. Otherwise, those extra bits of damage would have just racked up. But Azul showing mastery of the deck that he was able to navigate around in top 4 at NAIC, showing that maybe, you know, he saw an option